So we're out here in Arizona. The temps in the daytime are getting up in the mid 80s, and we get so many questions about how do you take care of meat when it's that hot. Well, this is probably an extreme example because of how hot it is. We don't have a lot of shade, we don't have a lot of trees, but I'm gonna have to make do. I'm gonna have to adapt because Matthew shot a really nice bull. The first thing we got to do is get the hide off that thing, get it cooled down, and get it in game bags, right? We use these synthetic game bags from Caribou Gear because they breathe a whole lot easier. If you can just get that hanging in some shade with some wind blowing on it, you will be surprised how quickly that meat will cool down. Now, once it cools down, you're going to want to bone it out. You want smaller chunks of meat if you can, because that has more surface area. That means that the heat is going to transfer quicker. Your meat's going to cool better. Then we also have, what do we do in the middle of the day, right? Okay, the sun's back up, it's 85 degrees. This is all great, Randy. At night it's getting down to 48 degrees. What do I do in the middle of the day? Again, you keep it in shade and you keep some wind blowing on it. Now that means you might have to get up in the middle of the day and move that meat to places that are in the sun, because as the sun moves, the shade moves. Do not let that meat get hit directly by that sun. Get out there and move it around. In this case, I have to move it around using the truck, my Go Fast camper wings, for my shade. And I'm standing it upright in the bed of my truck so a breeze can blow through there. I mean, I don't have a lot to work with here. And I got 85-degree temperatures, and I got to get this meat back to Montana. So get it cool, keep it cool, do whatever you have to do to get it into smaller pieces so that the air, when the wind and air goes over that, it's pulling heat away. And then at night, you know it's going to get down in the mountains, hopefully in the 40s or 50s. That's pretty darn cool. That's when you want to put your meat in your cooler, because your cooler is at its coldest in the morning. Your meat is at the coldest in the morning. So put it in there, and then if you can, go get some dry ice and put it on top of that meat. If you don't have access to dry ice, get some block ice, not cube ice. Lay those in the bottom of your cooler and put the meat on top of it. Take the little vent on your cooler, like on our Yetis, they got these little screw out plugs, and slightly tilt that. So as water and ice melts and water accumulates, it drains out and doesn't get your meat all wet. That will keep your meat cool for a long time. For me, I've got 2 days drive to Montana. Matthew shot that bull last night. We took care of it all today. We boned it. We cut it into smaller pieces. We got it in game bags. It's sitting in the shade in a cooler with some dry ice. It's gonna get us all the way home. It's gonna be just fine. I'll process it when I get home. I know it's a bit of a trick. It's a bit more work, but show up prepared. Here's another thing to think about. We've done videos about how many coolers you need to haul an elk, right? So we got to drive all the way home. I always tell, for a boned out, mature bull elk, I need at least 210 to 240 quarts. We're talking volume. The more volume I have, the more ice I can put in there, and that will keep the meat cooler longer. If you think you're just going to pack that cooler jam full of meat with a little bit of ice, that's a recipe for disaster. So the volume that we're talking about, when I say 210 to whatever, some people will say 300. Well, they plan on using a lot of ice. Whatever it is, make sure that you have a good cooler. And once you seal that up, don't be checking it every hour. Okay, that's letting all that coolness out of there and interjecting warm air. Get that thing home, get it processed, and enjoy that elk meat.